I'm here with Mr. Brian Twomey, and the reason I wanted to interview you today is because when I first met you a couple of months ago, you told me a little bit about yourself that was very, very inspirational to me. And your story just kind of captured me, and I knew when I started doing these interviews that I really wanted to get you and tell your story, and hopefully it will inspire a lot of people. I know it inspired me just knowing a little bit that I knew about you. So if you can you just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
I was born and raised in Brentwood, Long Island, New York. Brentwood is a suburb of New York City. About 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and you are in New York City.
My understanding is I know you have a lot of successes in life and possibly some failures. We all have a story to tell. I know I've had some failures in my life, and that brought me to the point where I'm at today. And my understanding is that you were at one point a college professor, and you also wrote a book. And can you tell us what actually brought you to Rock Hill?
I had open heart surgery, and I wasn't doing very much.
Right.
You know, I was looking for the next college. You know, I've been a college teacher for 25 years. Mm-hmm. You know, I have 2 graduate degrees. Mm-hmm. And I was a college teacher in the areas of political science. Mm-hmm. And you know, and that's been it's been a lifelong interest.
Right.
Okay.
And how long you said you were a college professor?
About 25 years.
About 25 years.
Yeah.
Oh, so you've seen a lot in that profession.
I have. Wow. I have a lot.
Wow.
I tell you what really changed was the addition of women. I mean, women were coming on strong into colleges. Men were dropping off. Mm-hmm. Or I should say, you know, males of all ages, they were dropping.
Right.
You know, so, and it shows today.
Right.
You know, it shows today, you know, the amount of, you know, educated women today.
Right.
The amount of successful women today.
Right.
You know, I mean, you know, their lives began, you know, from day one in a college classroom.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. And after those 25 years, what did you do after that?
I began to find my way into currency trading. Mm-hmm. I somewhere right at 2003, 2004. This is where I began. It's been I'm almost into my 17th year.
Wow. Wow. And what actually led you into going from teacher to currency trading?
I was in between classes one semester. I never had a set schedule semester from semester. Mm-hmm. I never knew when I was going to teach, where I was going to teach. You know, sometimes there were night classes. Other times classes were back to back. Other times there were morning classes, and then there were afternoon classes. You never know. You never knew semester to semester. Right. One semester I was in between classes, morning and an afternoon. So when I was done with my morning class, I would come back home here, and I was watching CNBC one day, and I was watching the Japanese yen. And I understood what stocks and bonds were all about, you know, and I dabbled and played and, you know, and invested in previous years. Currencies, I didn't know. Mm-hmm. So here I was. I watched the Japanese yen. The next day I watched the Japanese yen again. It went up and then it went down, you know. And it was kind of intriguing, you know, interesting, because it was a field of study and in the world of investments that I didn't know.
Right.
I understood stock options.
Right.
I understood bonds. I understood a lot.
Right.
I did not understand currencies.
Right.
So I was making trips to the library. This was during the day when you didn't have computers in your home like this.
Right.
You know,
right.
This was 2003, 2004, when you didn't even have a personal telephone.
Right.
You had to go to a phone booth if you were outside your home.
Right.
So I was making trips to the library, back and forth, investigating, investing, Japanese yen. And I started out small, and then I started to understand things. And then before you know it, I found a demo account.
Right.
And then I started playing with the demo account. Now I'm in 2003.
Right.
Okay, 2003, 2004, 17 years ago.
So basically, you just did your homework on it.
Intense homework.
Wow.
Yes.
And then from the time you started investigating what this stock trading and all the things that you did, from the time you started till the time you actually made your first investment, what time period would you say that was?
Good question. It must have been right in the 2006, 2007 vicinity.
So you're
2005,
talking
2000. I took really, really bad hits in 2005. I just knew everything, you know.
Right. You talking about with investing and everything when you first started?
Right into currency trading. Yeah, wow. I jumped right into currency trading.
Wow. Now, was that very scary to you in the beginning, or did you have any doubts about it when you first started?
I did. I thought I knew what I was doing.
Just thought you, and that's
yeah. I was ready. I know it. Yeah. I got this. I know what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. I got you.
But that's you have to take a hit. I mean,
right.
Success doesn't come by any. It's not an easy avenue.
Right. Right. And let me ask you this: since we're on the topic of success. How would you define success?
No trouble, determination, completion of goals, love of challenge, to ensure that your goals are complete, fear of failure. Mm-hmm. That's how I define it. That's how I defined it.
Right.
When I went to college. I didn't go to high school. I didn't have the benefit of going to high school. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the easy road that everyone else had. Wow. I didn't go to high school.
Wow.
I had other things to do.
Right.
More important to me than being in high school.
Right.
So I began college with a GED.
Wow.
That's not very good. So the question was then, now that I entered college, there was no failure here. I was not going to fail.
Right.
Fear of failure was the driver, and I kept moving and I kept moving. And I spent from the first day that I went to college, I spent 10 years in college.
Right.
Straight.
Right.
Straight. I mean, no summers off. I took summer classes. I got a 2-year degree, then I got a 4-year degree, then I got a graduate degree, and I got another graduate degree.
And you were working the whole time going to school?
Doing whatever I could.
But the thing is, like you said, you were just determined to make something of yourself.
Yes.
During that whole period.
Yes.
And then you became a teacher, and then we know after that, you wrote your book, and your book is called Inside the Currency Market.
Yes.
At what point, what made you want to write that book when you did write it? How many years into investing were you in?
7 years.
7 years.
Yeah, I spent 1 year, 2010, writing that book.
Wow.
1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
Was that?
A lot of research.
A lot of research.
A lot of research. I mean, I put everything into that book.
Wow.
And everything that was good and valid at the time. Which applies today.
Right.
Applies today.
And let me ask you this: throughout your career as a teacher, and then you moving into your investment mode and getting into investing and trading, what would you say, or who would you say was your driving force or your motivator? Was there anybody in your life that helped motivate you to get into this?
I have a longtime friend, Peter Watkins. I don't mind. Peter's my longtime friend.
Right.
Peter's been doing this. Peter's been into currency trading this is his 47th year.
Wow.
He was a corporate treasurer at 2 banks. He began at the age of 19. He's 64 today.
Wow.
And those 47 years were continuous. Okay, I mean, there were no breaks for him. He just retired from Thomson Reuters. And I don't know what he's going to do next. But when I first met Peter way back in, I think it was like 2009, we became friends. And through my efforts to learn and to research, to understand what I was doing, Peter was my help, my inspiration, because I could write him, I can call him, and he was there to answer my questions.
Wow.
Yeah, and and when he's in the area, he comes here. You know, he's my friend, you know.
And so y'all are just basically, when he comes...
It's like you come, you can eat, you can sleep, you can do, you know.
And y'all are just trading back and forth ideas about stocks?
Yeah, the last visit lasted 2 days.
Good, great.
2 full days. You know, which was good because I got to show him some of my newest models, you know, that only he understands because he's on such a higher level, you know.
Right. Right.
You know, the good about me is I'm working on a far higher level than the vast majority out there, you know. And I've put models and statistics and interest rates together where nobody else has done this,
right.
You know. So Peter was the person to look and evaluate to determine what I had. How good it was, how good the quality was,
right.
You know, how much money it would make, how much, you know, the success of the model versus its any downside failures.
Wow, that's great. That's great. I wish I had a friend like that.
I mean, you want to see something wild?
Yeah.
I go. Australia, New Zealand interest rates. 1 person in 3 million are interested in this. You need this to trade, to understand Australia and New Zealand. Every day, this is just one model. These are Federal Reserve interest rates. Every day, I record these at 4:15. And if you can see, I've got here, more every day.
Every day you're just going through the numbers.
Every day at 4:15.
4:15. So you start at 4:15 in the morning. What time do you normally start?
No, 4:15 in the afternoon.
In the afternoon. Okay, so
Yeah.
you pretty much...
You need 4:15 interest rates to be able to begin the China Open at 9:30.
Wow.
And to be able to trade the Asia session.
Oh, okay. And how long do you go in the afternoons up until what time at night?
From 9:30 at night, I'm back here at 2:30 a.m. I'm right here in this chair, ready to go, working at 2:30 a.m. Well, a little bit before 2:30 a.m. every trading day. I've been doing this for years.
Wow.
This is my schedule.
Wow.
You know.
That's amazing.
But it's more than that. It's, you know, I mean, I'm in it for me. I've always been in it for me. But there's people that I also assist, you know. There are traders of all different sorts out there. You know, the beginners to the intermediate to the advanced. The advanced people don't need me, you know.
Right.
Those that are past the beginner stage, you know, heading toward the intermediate stage, if they need help on, you know, with trades or, you know, advice, you know, there's a number of people that I assist. And these people I've known for 10 years.
Wow.
You know.
Wow. And what actually, out of all the different careers and different things that you could have done, what actually made you choose investing or trading? What actually really did it for you?
I did it it came by accident. You know, it's not something that I didn't really seek this, you know. I think it kind of found me.
Right.
You know. Yeah, I had I had options to do many other things, you know. And I still have options to do other things, but this is one of the most fascinating, challenging. It's extraordinary. There is a lot to learn. You know, you just don't walk in, in year 1 or year 2 and say, here I am. I got $5,000. I want to, within 2 days, I want to be able to retire in the south of France.
Right.
It just doesn't work like that.
And if
it literally takes years to fully understand what's going on here.
And if you had some advice to give someone that wanted to get into trading or investing, what would that advice be?
Pick up a statistics book. You see this? Mm-hmm. Statistics. These are moving averages. Moving averages. The world of trading is all about moving averages.
Wow.
And my advice is pick up a statistics book, learn moving averages, learn the different math formulas behind moving averages. The older the statistics book, the better.
Right.
Because they explain concepts, they show far more examples with deep explanations. Statistics books today fail in explanations.
Right.
And they fail in the number of examples. You see that book right there? To the basic statistical analysis? I bought that book at my church book sale, 50 cents. One of the 50 cents, one of the best books that I ever bought on statistics.
Wow. For
50 cents.
Wow.
And I ended later, I have an academic paper that I wrote. The question was, how does Euro Yen act in relation to Euro USD and USD JPY over different periods? I used that book was my guide.
50 cents got you all the knowledge
50 cents.
you
And matter of fact, I even called the author. I found him.
Right.
And spoke to him. He's a very nice guy.
Because I would think that you'd spend, way more money on a book like that. But like you said, you found it.
Well, you notice I got nothing. I got plenty of math books there. I'm going to tell you, college trig, algebra. The laugh to math is, in my college days, I didn't like math.
Right.
I stayed away from math. I despised math. Algebra. I just despised algebra.
Wow.
It wasn't until, going back 15, 17 years ago when I began introducing myself truly to mathematics and statistics in particular.
Right.
Okay. And as you can see, my board is filled with nothing but math.
Right.
Math. I love math. I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Wow.
Years back, I despised it. Today, I think it's terrific. Wow. It's fascinating. It's easy to understand.
Wow. And if you had to write another book, and I see, like I said earlier, we have your book here, Inside the Currency Market. Would you write another book about that, or would you write a book about something else, or would you continue with trade?
I would introduce a second edition to that book because not a whole lot has changed. What I would do with that book, if I had the chance, is update various parts of that book.
Right.
Update, and it doesn't require much updates, but that's what I would do. I would update the book, and then again, if I had a chance to write a book on another topic, I have other pursuits outside of trading. I'm constantly doing research still to this day on various concepts. I'll probably never stop doing research on various concepts of markets and trading and, but there are I have other interests outside of this,
Right.
I'm fascinated by Rock Hill and York County history. I have been since day one, and I'm really I call myself the budding historian.
Right.
Okay, but for the past 3 months, I've been doing research on a congressman from the 1860s, South Carolina. This is one of the most fascinating stories I've ever seen in my life. Nobody knows this, guys. There are so many unknowns out there from years past that have made an extraordinary difference in today's life, and they're not known. They may never be known.
Right.
Okay? I'm researching now the 1870 election because there was an incredible amount of... The story is fascinating due to the amount of fraud that took place and the amount of underhanded... what's the right word? Underhanded, each side, okay? Each side was crooked, okay? Right. And it's just that, and who was one more crooked than the other? That's, I really don't know. There were people that went to jail, and deservedly so. 2-year sentences each. 2-year sentences in 1860 South Carolina. That didn't happen.
Right.
That didn't happen. Especially if you are an election commissioner, okay? You slide, okay? There were no rules of law. The rules of law was this, okay? Right. Who did you know? Who did you pay? Who do you have access to? Okay? And based on this relationship, people walked.
Wow.
People walked. This congressman I'm talking about was, he was a lawyer. Mm-hmm. Well, how can you be a lawyer, but he was arrested for accessory to murder. He was charged with bigamy. He was married to 4 different women. He was charged with theft. Mm-hmm. Okay. There was a stock deal. There was a crazy stock deal that he was involved in. Walked every time. Wow. Walked every, and he was still a lawyer. I kind of went on, but
yeah.
The point is, I have other interests and things that I do. Here, this is my passion here, my harmonica. I love this, man. I've been at this for 3 years.
Wow. So, harmonica playing trader.
You talked about some of the mistakes that you made early on in investing. What were some of those mistakes, and how did you wish you could avoid some of those mistakes that you may have made?
I wish that I would have had more understanding, more training. I was a bit of a hothead. I just knew what I was doing,
Right. You just knew it all.
Good enough to I can put $2,500 and $5,000 down like it's nothing. And then watch it disappear 10 minutes later. That's exactly what happened to me, okay?
Right.
I mean, this is a true story.
Right.
I was taking my hard-earned money, and putting it down because I knew what I was doing, okay? Mm-hmm. 1 year, 2 years into this,
Right. And I guess, losing that kind of money, you learn, after that, you learn very, very quickly.
Yeah.
What to do and what not to do.
It's like anything else. It's good to get your hand burned, It's good to get burned so you understand and you respect the things, whatever it is you're doing.
Right.
Whatever your pursuits are in life, a bit of a fall is not a bad thing.
Right.
That's
how you learn.
And you give more respect to the things that you're doing.
Right.
You're willing to have more patience, to garner understanding, to garner knowledge,
And what sacrifices did you have to make, or did you make any sacrifices before getting into investing or trading? Were there any sacrifices you had to make in life? Time.
You need time. You need time to be good, to understand. You need time. There's a factor of time, and the factor of time means you don't make any money, Right. You live your life as, your normal life as you're living. At the time I was teaching classes, so it wasn't very tough, But you need time. You don't make any money as you are learning something.
Right.
You know, and it doesn't matter what it is, you know. I mean, for me, it was this, but, you know, it could have been something else that I was pursuing, you know.
Right.
I still needed time to understand, to be good, to master something,
Right.
to have knowledge and understanding, you know, and it required discipline and patience. It required a drive that this is what you wanted to do. You know, that's another thing. Mm-hmm. You know, in the early years when I lost money, you know, it became a challenge, you know, and I said, oh,
Right.
I'm not going to let this thing beat me, you know.
Absolutely.
That's not going to happen. There was no failure here, you
Right.
know. That was not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
And
Absolutely.
I pursued, and I was at it, and I was at it, and I was at it. And I'm good today, you know.
Right.
I'm good. I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what's going on.
Right.
And I taught myself all of this math. I didn't, you know. I avoided math in college. Mm-hmm. And thanks to math, that gave me the full knowledge and understanding and the ability to put together the math models that I'm using right now.
Wow. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Well, I know you're like I said, you're doing very, very well now. And from where you started in teaching, and, you know, you may have gone through a couple of things right there. Well, at that time during teaching, and you got into trading now. And I know, like I said, you're very, very successful now. Can you give us some final thoughts for anyone wanting to maybe pursue this, or any final thoughts on success?
Take the time. It's like anything else. Take the time to garner all the knowledge, the understanding, all the parameters. Learn everything that you can learn before you begin to put $1 down. Your success rate here is very, very slim. Mm-hmm. The European brokers report 70% losses from their accounts. Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, you don't have a choice except to fully learn, fully understand what you're doing. Have the patience, the knowledge. You have to be ready for the challenge. Mm-hmm. You know, you have to be, because there are going to be points of that you don't understand. Right. You know, right. And you must understand.
And just prepare yourself.
Exactly. You need to be fully prepared. The nuances involved in this is, you know, I talk about a moving average or something, you know, that's the simple part, you know. The other part is understanding the full context of currency markets and currency prices. Mm-hmm. It's you know, it's completely abstract, right. You know, right. Abstract to many. Learn the parameters, learn what's going on, and your chances of success will be much better. You will have money. You will have a better life.
And the sky's the limit on what you can make.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Sky's the limit. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you very much for conducting this interview with me. And like I said before, I really wanted to get your story and for you to tell it, your process to getting to the trading. And again, I just want to thank you so much.
Can I add one point? Most important to my life was God. But it wasn't me finding God. God came to me, okay? And he said, Brian, it's time. It's time. Because there were times way back when, life was not so good.
Right.
You know. But here, I don't miss a Sunday church.
Right.
You know, I have all the inspiration passages are right here that affect all of life. You know, maintaining the relationship and discipline with God has been unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable. It has been my foundation.
Absolutely.
Something that I've been very grateful for. You know,
absolutely.
I'm very grateful that God finally came to me, you know. Absolutely. And I think God gave me that foundation, You know, and God allowed all of this. God allowed this.
Right. And you can't do it without, like you said.
No.
You can't do anything without God.
It's impossible. It's impossible. In my opinion, in my way of life, it's impossible. You can't live without God. It's impossible. And I will continue this relationship till the last days and then some.